So, how do scientists find a clear signal in all the noise of the real world?
The big challenge is isolating one factor's true effect from, well, everything else going on.
A study on South African women asked this really vital question.
They figured each factor would be bad, but the combo would be even worse for their well-being.
So they compared 4 groups: women with both, with just HIV, just trauma, and neither.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Real-world data is, well, it's messy.
Turns out, these groups just weren't the same, and that creates statistical noise that hides the truth.
For example, their age, education, and even current depression scores were all over the place.
So are the results because of HIV and trauma, or because of these other factors?
And this is where a really powerful statistical tool comes into play. It filters out that noise.
First, you have to pinpoint those noise variables. In statistics, we call them covariates.
Then you use a method called ANCOVA to mathematically cancel out the effect of those covariates.
Think of it like a sound engineer for data, You're filtering out the background noise.
Okay, so once they cleaned up the data, what did they find? This is the really interesting part.
The results were crystal clear. Both HIV and childhood trauma each had a significant, separate impact.
But get this, the combined effect wasn't significant at all. That second hypothesis, it just didn't hold up.
And that is a super important distinction. It has huge implications for how we can help.
In fact, the study suggested trauma's impact was actually even greater than that of an HIV diagnosis alone.
Without ANCOVA, that critical insight, it would have just been lost in all the statistical noise.
See, this is why the right method is everything. It leads to precise conclusions and better targeted help.
It really makes you wonder, right? How much of what we know just depends on how we ask?